everyone, and welcome to the Next Best Picture podcast, where I'm being joined right now by the casting directors for Hedda, Des Hamilton and Joe Harris. Thank you, both of you, for joining me here today.
Pleasure. Thanks for having us.
So, I guess the first question I have, as I'm talking to more casting directors for more films and trying to get a better understanding of how the whole process works, because prior to this year, we didn't really talk to casting directors ever, for the most part. And we are now, because there is a new Academy Award this year. So take us a bit behind the process. I understand my line of questioning might be a little rudimentary, but bear with me. From my understanding, the principals, Tessa Thompson, for example, has a pre-existing relationship with Nia DaCosta. So they probably have a private conversation and there's no audition process or anything like that. She probably says yes. Where do you all then factor in on either the discussions or like what role do you all play in that?
Well, like you said, Tessa was going to be Hedda long before we became involved.
Okay.
And then from there, in the most basic terms, we get sent the script. We break it down character-wise. We go back and have a conversation with the director on this occasion, lovely Nia DaCosta, and talk about, the kind of look of each character, the kind of sensibility, what she's looking for from them. And then we start reading people by ourselves, and we send the ones we think that would be good in the part over to Nia and the producers, and they make their choices. And we were very fortunate to bring a great deal of people back in for physical recalls and improvisations around the scenes. And
You guys are providing suggestions. The producers and Nia make the final decision. But like in terms of maybe some of the supporting players like Tom Bateman, Nina Haas, for example, are those names that you guys suggest, or are they similar like Tessa, where Nia has an idea in mind, or maybe they write to her when they get whiff of the script?
We offered up some suggestions and some material on them, and there'll be people. Nia's got a tremendous, knowledge of acting talent, and she makes her choices. I don't know if Nina or Tom would have had to read. I think Nia met them and had conversations, felt that she could get what she wanted from them and those roles. And, but I think after that, most people would come and read with Nia, do chemistry reads opposite other actors, and it would move forward from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think, for example, I think those main supporting parts, they wouldn't have read. There'd be people who we'd spoken about and Nia knew and loved. And so I think, Imogen Poots, Nicholas Pinnock, and those that Des mentioned, they all would have come from ideas and lists. And then from that point forward, I guess we would have done in-person sessions with people.
Now, once a director has made up their mind, because, like I said, private conversations, not even reading the material, just like saying, hey, I want to work with you, would love for you to read the script. If you like it, you're in. Do you guys then ever, like, pushback's not the right word, but like, is there ever a conversation after that has taken place where you're still offering up maybe another suggestion, or is it like director has final say kind of thing?
I think director has obviously final say.
Mm-hmm.
And discussed it with the producers. If there was a concern, I would hope, I'm correct here, I would hope the director would want our input if we had genuine concerns.
Now, could that be like scheduling concerns, for example?
It could be a myriad of reasons, but we would, as a casting team, it would be remiss for us not to highlight this to the director.
Mm.
Whatever the concern is, it could be big, it could be borderline trivial, but I think it would be best to have the conversation.
Now, could that be sometimes like based on certain skills required, like in the screenplay, like, oh, this person has to ride a horse, for example?
I'm having to choose my words very carefully. I'm not trying to. There was no. It wasn't relevant on this occasion. There has been occasions in the past
Mhm.
where I've had to, see Joe or one of my colleagues at the office and say, "Look, got a situation with this actor. The director likes what's it called?" And I have to point out to the director that this person is equestrian phobic, has this irrational fear of horses. So it would be good for me to let them know that.
Yeah.
Should it be a horse riding
Yeah.
angle?
Specifically, like getting into Hedda, though, there's a lot of speaking parts. Obviously, the movie takes place predominantly at this massive party that's taking place in this huge mansion. So you have a lot of speaking roles, maybe in some cases, people that only have like one line, for example. I imagine the challenge here is, while this is a period piece, Nia's got a very clear vision for wanting to make this feel very modern and contemporary in terms of its overall like attitude. So how do you go about finding the right people that look period, but then have like the attitude of now?
Yeah, that was something that was really exciting for us. And to be honest, I think we just read the script, spoke to Nia, and then just went out and found people who we felt fit into that world. I don't think we thought too much even about kind of, like, Nia was very clear about the looks of the characters as well, which was really helpful. I think that was something that, it's really important to who those characters are, how they look and how they would have been received as a result in that time. And so that was something that was clear all along in terms of, the split between the two groups of friends and the kinds of people that they spend their time with. And that kind of marked a difference in their relationship and why maybe they weren't quite right for each other and what those tensions were. So I think that was always something that was quite clear from the offset, which was really helpful. And yeah, in terms of the energy, our favorite thing really is just to see people in person as much as we can and just, allow ourselves to be surprised by people and kind of see lots of people and just ask them to kind of have fun with the scene and do it in a way that they wanted to. And I think people that maybe hadn't played a role like that before did something really different and unexpected, and that was very exciting. So I think we didn't. It was quite a, I don't know, free process in that way.
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, when you have a speaking role, even if it's like a line or two, I imagine that there is a separate process for background extras, people that are just populating a scene out of focus, maybe in the background, but they have to look like they're carrying on a conversation. Are you guys involved in that selection process as well?
I think it's more if an actor, like you said, speaks, has a few lines, we would be involved.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, it would be, I think the first assistants would bring in people that would have the look of that time.
Mm.
And an interesting look as well, where it's not too dated. that they would have. They could potentially have that contemporary look also.
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is, yeah, Nia's version of Hedda has such a distinctive look and feel that I don't know. And I guess it also challenges the audience's expectations about how people might have looked in that time or, you know, a
Sure.
period. And I think that's, yeah, something that was quite important for
Yeah,
us as well.
absolutely. When it comes to, let's say you want a name, you know, you have a couple suggestions, you put someone forward. I know I asked about scheduling before, but I have to imagine there's also budgetary considerations too for certain actors as well. Are you guys involved in that process, or is that like a totally different side of it? Like you want someone, but they're like too expensive, let's say, for the film's budget. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just a very natural conversation.
Mhm.
Come along with that. Yes, you would like somebody, but you know they're going to be expensive for what you're asking them to do. Maybe they don't have that much dialogue, but everybody was needed for the entire shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So the conversation would obviously, if Nia wanted somebody, I think she could have had them.
I'm sure.
Regardless of it.
She's very
Yeah.
hot at the moment. I imagine people are lining up to want to work with her. Definitely.
No,
Because
yeah.
the action of the film primarily takes place in one single location, which I imagine is also multiple locations made to look like one location. I would take a wild guess to say.
I think
You
it
also-
actually was all one location.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was one.
Yeah. Which is crazy. But yeah, I think because it happened all over that one night, they were all in this, one brilliant location that they'd found,
Oh,
kind of doing it as chronologically as they could. So that it wasn't too much of a nightmare doing the sort of continuity, although I'm sure it still was.
do you know how long the shoot was?
I think
7,
it
8
was
years.
yeah, around that. Yeah.
So when you have a shoot that's lasting that long in a single location, do certain actors voluntarily choose to stay close to set on their like, you know, off days, or are they like shot in blocks of time where they have their block and then they're done, they don't have to come back for anything? Like how does that all, like the scheduling of that, how does that all work?
Yeah, I think this one was, I don't know if it is unusual, but I think perhaps slightly unusual in that way that everyone pretty much was there the entire time. And
From start to finish?
yeah, which is why, I mean, if you hear the cast speak about it, they very much talk about it almost like they were a sort of theatre company while they were
Sure.
there. It wasn't, you know, if someone has 2 days, they didn't come for those 2 days and then leave again, because you're at the party this whole time, even if they don't have dialogue that day, they might be somewhere, they're likely to be somewhere in the room or in the background. So everyone pretty much was needed for that whole time, which I think they found was brilliant, because you can keep that, all of those relationships and all of that support that you get from the cast that you're working with. I think it was really important to them, especially doing such a long stint, but I guess also just feeling that you are in that setting that you're being in every day. And
Now when it comes to things like chemistry reads, you know, is that something that you also play any role in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We, you know, with a director like Mia, we'd have the talent would be aware of the scene they were coming to, you know, to do, and then we would run it into improvisation, you know, after, and those would go on, and out of that comes a real insight into this overall sensibility and capability, adaptability of the actors, you know. And sometimes, you know, we get involved as a casting team, we get involved in those improvisations, and to try and assist in some way, drive it along. And it's a very fruitful process. You know, it really brings about something. There's people that really embrace it, and I think that is very important to a director like Nia.
Mm-hmm.
She sees what they can bring to it more than what's on the page.
Sure.
And
Now,
we got that in the room, in this room actually, we got that watching it. These people that ended up in the film, they shone during that process of the chemistry reads.
now between the two of you, or each of you rather, how many years in the industry do each of you have?
Des first. I mean, I've been working with Des for about 8 years. I think we've worked out, but I could definitely be wrong about that. But it's around 8 years. And I think before that, I had worked elsewhere for 3 years.
So over a decade.
Yeah. Though Des might beat me on this one. Des.
I'm in my 25th year, which I'm very proud of because it means I started in 2001.
So 25 years, over a decade. There's now an Oscar for casting. Had you guys heard rumblings about this coming? And what's your reaction to the fact that it's a reality and finally here?
I'm not sure I'd heard rumblings.
It's very new to us.
Yeah.
I'm very happy about it. I think that it has worthy of its place,
Mm-hmm.
you know, alongside the other categories. And I think it's a good thing.
Yeah. Recognition from more people is always nice. Speaking of which, though, as I wrap up here, there's still a lot of ambiguity around what exactly voters will be considering when casting nominations and things like that for this new Academy Award. What would you want your peers or anyone else in the industry to consider when it comes to casting?
I'm not sure I fully understand that. Sorry.
So essentially, like, what is, in your opinion, like certain, like, I know it's a very tough thing because it's like very subjective, but what is like the criteria that someone should be like mentally aware of when they're casting down, oh, okay, these are who I think are the best casting directors of the year? Like what makes casting for you like something that would be considered award worthy, you know? Because there's a lot of ambiguity around that right now.
I personally, I'm not sure it's totally indicative of my thoughts towards casting as a category, but it
I
would
guess
be
it also varies film to film too.
Mm.
impact, surprise, and the subversion of type of an actor.
Yeah, casting
No.
against type sort of thing.
Yeah, which is a multi-layered conversation to be articulated, that, you know, casting it. But the risk of it, the risk of a casting director suggesting Jim Carrey to play the Marlon Brando role in the remake of The Godfather. You would have to be very brave. Not that Jim Carrey, he's very capable of doing that. He's a tremendous actor.
Yeah.
But, you know, you'd have to be brave to bring that to the table. So if you were looking at casting, I think the inspiration, the bravery, and the commitment to it would be something that would have to be, I'm really big on impact.
Yeah. Would you say then that, like, if I watch a film and the performances, like you say, have an impact on me, whether they move me, make me laugh, whatever it is, I'm all about the performances. I love the performances in this film, right? That is like what you're referring to. That means you did a great job as a casting director, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like just memorable performances, when you're watching something and you're just feel so excited about what you're, a certain performance. I feel like we can all think of things that we've seen that maybe we haven't expected, but have really, had an impact, like Des said, and kind of stayed with you. I think aside from all of the other stuff about, things feeling just everyone feeling kind of right and right for the time and all those other considerations, but really just, you can do everything perfectly and still not have, I don't know, be necessarily really excited by something that you've seen. And so, I think like memorable and unexpected choices also are.
Yeah. I guess there's also times too where on paper you guys do everything you can and it seems like a great idea. Life gets in the way. Maybe it was a really difficult shoot or whatever, you know what I mean? But like you guys are a step in the process along the way. And I like what you said there a bit ago, Des, regarding taking a risk and, thinking outside the box, with certain choices too, because that is something that can only occur very early in the process. I know we're running out of time here. I don't want to keep you both, but I want to thank you because, like I said, it is all very illuminating and it's all very new, I think, for everyone as they're considering not just, from an award standpoint, but also just getting a better understanding of the process in general, because, it is something that hasn't been spotlighted that much. And it's really, really gratifying to, I think, get more people out there and to bring more exposure to it. So thank you for your time here and doing that.
Well, thank you. We hope it's been useful and it's been a real pleasure talking with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Take care.
Cool. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.